We begin with President Trump's sudden change of heart on releasing all of the Epstein files. CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi joins us now. So what might be behind the president's reversal?
Well, Lindsay, we know the president is extremely frustrated by everything with the Jeffrey Epstein saga. It's pretty much the last thing he wants to talk about. And every time it gets brought up, he says, why don't we talk about affordability in the economy? What he believes is actually a winning issue. But his base is so interested in getting these files unveiled that there's going to be a vote tomorrow in the House that there's expected to be a significant amount of Republicans signing on to that's going to unlock these Epstein files that people have been asking about for years. But you're right, we've seen this sudden reversal from the president. It seems that he realized he just can't fight against the groundswell of Republicans who want to see what are in these files. So after saying for weeks, months that this is nothing, it's a nothing burger, it's a hoax, and he doesn't want to talk about it. Then last night, back on Air Force One, on his way back to Washington, he said he is allowing House Republicans to go forward and vote for it. But the real question here is what happens next. Once the House approves it, then it heads to the Senate. And they're waiting for an indication from the White House to see if they even want them to take up the legislation. So a lot here at play, and certainly over the next 24 hours could change here in Washington.
So do you find then that the president could be not on the same page with his base and with members of his party when he keeps calling it a Democratic hoax and wants to talk about anything but the Epstein files when there is such a passionate segment of the population that wants to see them?
Well, it seems so. There seems to be some type of disconnect there, especially when so many people on the campaign trail that I even spoke to said one of their top issues was the Epstein files and getting more information and revealing perhaps what was going on with them as it relates to just the years of investigations, who was on his plane. We know that has been long conspiracy that has been talked about. This is certainly something that has gathered the attention of a lot of people, not only in Trump's party, in the MAGA base, but across the aisle as well, now that Democrats are interested in opening up these files. But certainly the president would like to talk about anything but this. But Lindsay, it doesn't seem like it's going to go away anytime soon.
Olivia Rinaldi, thank you. Let's turn now to Capitol Hill, where House lawmakers are expected to vote tomorrow on releasing the Epstein files. CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion joins us from outside Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene's office. So, Nikole, only 4 Republicans signed on to that original discharge petition to release the files. Marjorie Taylor Greene was one of them. What do we expect will happen tomorrow?
Yeah, that's right. Well, in addition to Congresswoman Greene and those 3 other Republicans, Thomas Massey, the Republican sponsor of this discharge petition, has predicted that we could see 100 House Republicans or more back this measure. He has made clear that he wants this to be veto-proof. Nonetheless, as you mentioned, we did hear from the president earlier today saying that, sure, he would be willing to sign this bill if it clears the House and the Senate. It's unclear what the bill's fate would be if it does pass the House, if it makes it over to the Senate. But certainly there is pressure on the Senate to take this up as well, particularly if tomorrow's vote is successful.
Do we have a sense of what will happen if it goes to the Senate?
Well, again, there is pressure that is starting to mount on Senate leaders as well to try to take this up, particularly if this is a decisive or overwhelming vote in the House, as some congressional leaders have predicted. So, at this point, how they may take this up remains to be seen, but really it's a matter of if, not when.
Nikole Killion, thank you.